Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Perg Introductions. Today we have Michelle Lally, who's going to introduce her body work with you today and her continuing education. And perhaps we can learn a little bit more about you and decide if we'd like to take one of your classes. Hello, Michelle.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk.
You're welcome. That's a gorgeous, what is that beautiful necklace you have on there?
Kind of crystal. I don't know. I picked it up at an art show or something.
Oh,
And the
so
pillow.
it's the positive energy for today.
Right.
That's good.
Oh, I said we'll take positive energy whenever we can get it, right?
That's right. So tell us a little bit about Bowsage, or am I saying it correctly? I may not be. Just give us a little education. What would you like us to know about your methodology?
So it's Bowsage, just like
Oh,
massage with the Bowen in front of it. And actually, Bowen is at the end of the massage. Is what I teach is a full body routine using the Bowen method. And Bowen is a technique that was, developed in Australia, and it is very popular in other countries. And it's coming to the US. It's been here. It's just kind of been one of those things on the that people have heard about over the years. I've been really finding out people are hearing more about it. We've got people coming in from Europe and other countries trying to ask for Bowen therapies because it's such a common um, modality that they offer in those countries. So Europe and Australia and Denmark, and it's really big in those countries. Really big. Big as a massage. It's the popular as massage. Yeah.
all right. So what would it be like if I were to call you and say, please introduce me to Bowsage as a treatment?
As a treatment. So it is a combination of massage with Bowen at the end of the massage. Bowen is a technique, and what I teach is a full body routine that can be done in 30 minutes. And you don't have to do the full routine. You can just do parts of it depending on what's going on with the client. But I like to teach the full routine so you have all of the pieces to the puzzle if you need them. So in my 2 day class, I teach a full 30-minute routine. It's a lot to learn in 2 days. You know enough as a massage therapist or a body worker about the physiology anatomy. We don't go into a lot of that in 2 days. It's in the books. It's there if you want to go back and reference it. But my goal is to teach you what Bowen therapy is and how basically to read the routine, the arrows, and in the pattern that you're learning in the weekend that you're with me.
Excellent. All right. Where would they learn more about your classes that you teach as well? What is your website? How would they communicate with you if somebody wanted to send an email?
Yes, sure. So everything's on my website, bosagetherapy.com, Bowsage therapy.com. And a lot of great videos, testimony videos, links to my classes. My class dates are on there. Everything you need is on there that you will need to know about Bowen therapy. When I first heard about it, I did a lot of research myself because I wanted to know what it was that was helping a friend of mine so quickly. She had there's one of her testimonies on my website, and she had fallen and hurt her tailbone, broke her tailbone, and had tried massage and chiropractor and acupuncture and PT, but she wasn't able to straighten up. She was still in a lot of holding pain, which we call that holding patterns in the body. And holding,
Yeah.
you're in pain, and that causes other issues, as we all know. Anyway, so she friends of hers told her about Bowen therapy and that she should try it. And they took her over to my mentor, which is Mitchell Mosier, and he did a 30-minute session. And in 30 minutes, she was able to get up off the table pain free, like 90% pain free. So
Nice.
he completely in 30 minutes got her out of pain. And that's what Bowen does is it kind of resets the pain memory loops and kind of reprograms those holding patterns to just let go and relax. It relaxes your body, gets you out of that fight or flight, and puts you into that now I can just relax and heal mode.
We all need a little bit of that in our lives.
Right.
So, all right. So tell me a little bit, if you were to have the ideal student show up to take some of your classes, tell me what resources they would bring, or how would they get the most out of your class? Of course, if we're distracted, that would be difficult. So maybe your ideal person won't be distracted. But
Right.
tell me a little bit about what you envision, what your students are like that really absorb what you're doing.
Yeah, they're open. They've heard about it probably before, maybe, or some haven't. Most have not. They just want to come because they looked at my class in the PERG magazine and wanted to know more about it. So my ideal student would be somebody who has maybe hopefully found my class in the PERG magazine and or on PERG online, and they're curious. What is Bowen therapy? Maybe they've seen some YouTube videos. Maybe they had a client that asked them about if they offer it. So they'll come and they'll be open-minded to something, a completely new technique. Actually teaching them to do the technique on the body and then walk away from the table for about 2 minutes in between each set of routines. So as a massage therapist, we're taught not to walk away from the table, but those integrative pauses are just as important as the actual move in Bowen therapy.
So
So
how do you, what if you were introducing Bowsage to someone who's come for general massage and you wanted to introduce them to this method and there's pauses? How do you make the bridge happen? Or do you let them experience the pause first and talk about it afterward? How does that work to integrate?
well, I'll say, hi, my name is Michelle, and I'm going to do a Bowen session on you. If you had Bowen before, and if they have, great. If not, I'll say it's just a series of moves with an integrative pause in between each set of moves in order to allow your body to process. Um, and so if they're on the table, I'll do the first few moves. And when I'm ready to walk away, I say, okay, I'm going to just step back and let your body process for a minute. And 90% of the time, they're going to feel the warming or the relaxation of the Bowen move, which is actually pulling the fascia back and digging underneath the fascia just a little bit to feel the tendon or the muscle and rolling over the top of the muscle and causing a guitar-like vibration through the body, through the fascia and all the systems to reset and reprogram that area of the body. And most of the moves are done over main stressor points of the body, like the lower back and the upper back, and the knees and the hips and ankles, chest, of course. So there's a lot of moves that address, I would have to say, about 95% of the major issues people would have. And so this routine that I teach covers those issues. And you really don't have to have assessment skills. Of course, they're always recommended to assess the body. I'm not going to say don't do it, but you don't have to have it. This routine is going to work. It's been proven over the years to be like a no-brainer. Let's just do this routine and see how it works on the body.
You
When they
know,
come,
sometimes that's nice.
yeah,
A
yeah,
no-brainer,
it
sometimes
is,
nice.
it is. And it's super easy on the therapist. And that's always a big, a lot of my students are older. They've been massaging for 10, 15, 20 years, and they're looking for something that can be just as effective, if not more effective sometimes, with less effort for them to put out because their hands are hurting now and their backs are hurting. So they go in and do the Bowen moves, and it does the work. You allow it to do the work with those integrative pauses.
I find those pauses in our from our culture's perspective is unique. Our culture doesn't pause.
Yeah.
So I wonder what vibration that brings through just into a person's everyday life. I can only imagine that it maybe at first, maybe I'm super relaxed from the massage prior, and then this is done and somebody leaves the room. I could, it would take a little bit of, I'd be like, what was that?
And
But
and
afterward, maybe I'd be breathing deeper. And maybe my brain doesn't even work like it would typically, where you're, looking around the room wondering what's going on. Maybe having your time alone to process that kind of takes some of the stress and pressure off of being with someone else when
that,
you're trying to heal.
it does, and it immediately puts you into rest and relaxation and into homeostasis. So your body will melt into the table, so to speak. And that is the number one response I get is I feel relaxed. Okay.
I
And,
remember going to network chiropractic,
uh,
and you'd be in a room full of 4 or 5 people, and they'd be the chiropractor. They were there for a little bit, but not the whole time. And I that was totally drooly to me. The
yeah.
whole experience of just my body just melting.
Yeah, and that's the same experience. I know in network chiropractic, I have a good friend who does that, who has come and taken my class. And she offers Bowen therapy now as well, that complements the network therapy, complements any therapies really. You can go with any acupuncture or chiropractic therapies as well.
Yeah, it's true. And anybody can take the class who's a practitioner in the healthcare world. Do you mix and match? Do physical therapists come
Do
and other body work types of body workers or massage therapists? How do you work it out? And where do you teach? Is it only North Carolina?
well, I want to teach all over the world, right? So
Excellent.
I personally can't get all over the place, but I would love to have a team
Right.
of therapy teaching. And I do have a few people that are teaching with me that I'm training to teach, and hopefully growing that in the next couple of years. And I'll have somebody in Florida and have somebody in pretty much every state. I know people in Arizona interested, Washington that are interested.
Definitely the mindset for it. The person that I have met through Perg Magazine.
Yes.
You have the capacity and the vision and
Mhm.
the ability to, I would say, to harness working with others to help them envision how your vision, and so it doesn't just have to be you.
Right.
um, I know you've been very encouraging to me about some things. You're just always coming up with ideas, so I wish you the best with the getting known and getting seen out there nationally as well as internationally.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to find new avenues to do that, with the competitions and the conventions that everybody holds in every state, just being more present and more available to go to those things and put myself out there, put Bowen therapy out there, because really, as a educator, people educate, at least in my experience for me, I'm educating because I believe in what I'm teaching, and I believe that it's going to help so many people uh, that I want everybody to not know how to do this so that they can help more people, right? So Tom Bowen himself would see 60 to 100 clients a day, similar to a chiropractic setup, where he would just treat specific areas with the
Mhm.
Bowen work. He touched thousands and thousands of lives, and we can do that too with this work. And it's easy for the therapist. You can work on 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 people at the same time. So it's similar to an acupuncture clinic, and help people. I've helped people with hiccups. I've helped babies with colic. I've helped recently, last week, a friend of mine said he had a stroke. I went to his house and I just did as much Bowen as I can on him, and he immediately felt relaxed, like he wanted to take a nap. And he had
Mm.
to, because he had some neuropathy, and the neuropathy was keeping him awake and in his feet from the stroke. And he said, I took a nice nap and I got up and I took a nice long walk with his walker. He goes, I haven't been able to do that in a long time. And all I did was just a few simple Bowen moves on him. So I see it every day that I work on people. And I want other people to see that too. I want my therapists to see that and feel that. And if you go back and you look at my testimonies, you see that they are also getting the same experiences. I just had a lady who took my class 2 weeks ago go home and take it to her 3-year-old, who's pretty wide open, as 3-year-olds can be. She, she did a few moves on his back, and within minutes, he was sitting on her lap, just relaxing, watching a show with her. And he, 2 minutes prior, had been running all over the place.
Yeah, the zoomies.
He had this, and she got him to calm right down with just doing the basic moves on his back. And I mean, I could go on and on with story after story, but that is why I teach it, because it's going to help the therapist in saving their bodies, maybe be able to work on more than one person at a time if that's what they desire, because you have those integrative pauses. You go in, you do your work, you go into the next room, you do some work, you go back, you do a little more. It's
Right.
very, very doable. Very doable.
Acupuncture is set up like that as well, where there's an integrated pause. They put the needles in and leave the room
That's
or
correct.
sit quietly.
If you remember, I mean, anything with acupressure, you're holding a spot for a good minute. You're holding, if you have a really tight area, you could hold that spot for a good
Hmm.
minute for it to reset and let go and relax that area. If you remember some of the muscle laws where you shorten a muscle and you hold it short for 30 seconds, it kind of resets and reprograms that muscle. So those pauses can be great and they're very effective.
Aw, exciting, exciting. So let's turn the page. I want to ask you some questions. You've been in our field for how long have you been in the field?
Well,
What were you before?
good question. Most people don't believe it. I was a QuickBooks specialist. I would go into companies and get them up and running on the QuickBooks. I probably started with that QuickBooks back in the 80s. I was one of their first testers. I was running a DOS operating system with
Oh
the
my.
accounting, and they brought in QuickBooks and said, "Hey, we want to try that." And Microsoft and QuickBooks came out about the same time. So, we put on Microsoft, and then all of a sudden we have this program, and I'm like, hey, that looks kind of cool. It was super easy. And just one company led to another company, and 25 years of QuickBooks, running QuickBooks for other companies. And I raised my kids holistically on aromatherapy, and I'm also a certified aromatherapist because that's my passion. Um, the wasn't a there was an article, I think, ad in the one of the magazines here in North Carolina that said massage school, right?
Oh,
and
yeah. Yeah.
and I think I was in transition between one company and another, so I was looking for another company that needed a QuickBooks specialist or accounting specialist. And I ended up getting a job at another company as a QuickBooks integrative specialist while I went to massage school with two kids. Yeah, as a single mom. So I don't really even looking back know how I got to it, but I did. I went to massage school at the age of 42, and I was completely overwhelmed. And I'm like, I almost quit after 2 weeks because I'm like,
Well, I'm glad you didn't.
I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. But something inside me just said, you know what? This school has passed hundreds of people before me that are now successful massage therapists. I had to have faith in the school and the program that I could get through this. And I just had to remember enough to get through this week's test and the next week's test, learn what we're learning that week and get through the test. And I went week to week. And at the end, I really didn't even know if I was going to be able to pass the national, which was what we had to take at the time.
Mhm.
And I did the first try. I was like, I don't even remember half of what was on the quiz. I really just don't even know how I got through it, but I did. And immediately that job that I was working at knew I was only going to be available for about a year. So I had them where I could just bring somebody in and train them to do the data entry because I created the data for them to enter.
Yeah,
And then they just needed to pay a data entry person, not,
not a
I,
QuickBooks specialist.
yes. And that's kind of what I did. I kind of helped streamline their revenues. And so I was, I worked for a spa for about 2 minutes and realized I need to work. I need to work for myself because I'm just way too entrepreneurial to be working
Right.
for
It's
somebody
your
else.
way was to work for yourself. Yeah.
I was grateful for that spa job because it helped me learn things about the industry as far as, getting people on and off the table, cleaning up the sheets, just getting stuff ready and moving, keeping things moving. And that was very helpful for me. I'm grateful for that. And then I just winged it and said, okay, well, I have a mortgage and 2 kids at home.
I better
I,
get a job.
I've got to make this work. And I hustled. I mean, I was hustling chamber events and this
Good for
event,
you.
that event. And I built my business from the,
Yeah,
word of mouth.
you and I probably come from a time before. And
Mhm.
I was just reading an article today about looking for jobs, and it's kind of online, the interface between looking for jobs online now versus maybe Craigslist way back when,
Right.
and how it's very complicated and frustrating for people to constantly be putting out your resume and not hearing back from various practitioners or various professionals that are meant to help you get a job. Hopefully, our field has figured it out. We are a people person field, so
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
that connection, step outside, find the name of the place, obviously on LinkedIn or wherever, but make the connection by reaching out and saying, "Hey, can I come in and just have an informal conversation with you?"
Knock
Knock
on.
on doors, and don't make your judgments right away. Spend 10 minutes with each one. Try to figure it out, or watch these videos if you don't know which class you want to take or which
Right.
personality is going to clue you. It's a little bit of research goes a long way when you are first starting out in your field. And I would say foundationally, we haven't moved too far from our goals are lofty in our profession, but we have not really moved too far since from 25 years ago. That there's still the challenges are the same in the field. It's just the social media and the distractions of life that tend to be out there with our computers walking around with us really do tend to get in the way. So get out there,
Right.
get to know people face to face, go to live classes as much as you can or as much as you desire, and get that sense of getting it into your cells,
I mean,
finding that place to work.
there are Bowen classes that are offered online, but and I've been told I should offer it online, especially through the 2020 situation. And I said, there's no way.
Mm,
I have to be able to feel and see what you're doing. And
right, right,
not saying there's no way people learn it online, but
right,
in my preference, I'm a hands-on. It's important to me that I and my students are very grateful that I am so hands-on with them in the class.
right.
You're watching maybe a few videos in the beginning to kind of get to know what Bowen is and hear some testimonies. But 80% of the classes, you're on the tables. We're doing this routine over and over and over until you get
Right.
it. You're going to be at the end of day two going, okay, 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 I get it. What? And I've had students say it's way too much to learn in one weekend, and I can't learn it. And
They
I
can
just
come back. They
they
can
can
take it
come back,
again.
or I just tell them that you've got the routine in the book, take it home and
Right,
practice. Because
right.
and most of those students after day one, when they come back on day two, they're doing it. They just
Yeah,
don't they don't
right,
realize they're doing it, but they're doing it. It is a lot to learn. And but I just say trust the process. You'll get through it. And I mean, I've even had students, oh, you don't know how to teach this, and of course that was a very big class, so I didn't
yeah.
have one-on-one time with each student that I would have normally had. But she had it. She just didn't realize it till the next morning when she told me. I almost didn't come back because I don't think you teach this very well. And I was just like, what?
Nothing about being blunt.
Uh,
Thank you.
and I was grateful for that because I said, well, let me see how you're doing. And I went with her and I put her on the table and she had every move down. She just didn't have the confidence yet. So
Yeah,
she didn't realize. I said, so you're doing it, sweetheart. She's like, you're
right.
right, I'm doing
What
it.
we're doing is setting a spark.
Yep.
This chain reaction is coming. And if you find that you have interest and you have talent in this way, come again and you'll get it into your
Yes.
cells and you'll
Yes.
feel confidence that the therapist a lot of times, I love that one-on-one or at least a small group experience. One of the things I love in continuing education teaching is that no session is the same. And so no class is exactly the same. And my students have come in and gone, hey, have you ever thought about doing this neuromuscular move this way? And I'm like, let's work through that. Let's see if that actually would be better than the way we're showing you in the book. Because the book is two-dimensional and the body's three-dimensional. So it's always been so much fun to work with a creative group of people. Or maybe you have half and half. One part of the group is just hoping they get through so they can finish their CEs, but then
True.
the infection of the other side of the group kind of pulls them in and they realize they had more fun than they thought they would. And I find continuing education helps me stay in the field.
Yes. Yes. And what's really amazing is when you have students realizing the effect of the Bowen on their bodies during the class.
That's
And
neat.
they're getting the session, they're getting practiced on, and there may be an emotional breakout or something. And that, like one student, I, I was a little scared because I never witnessed this before, but I knew what was happening. And we were taking a break, and I seen her over in the corner, and she's holding her jaw, like she's got a lot of pain in her ear, like behind her ear, in her jaw. And we had just learned TMJ move, right? And so I'm like, well, the person do maybe her partner did it too deep or what. And so I went over and I'm like, what's going on? And she told me, and I repeated the moves on her very gently,
Yeah.
same moves I just learned, to help it to relax. And as soon as I did that, within seconds, she started crying, like crying, big cry. And it was stuck in her jaw. And that little
You'll
tiny
never know.
piece, and she didn't know. She didn't expect that. She didn't know why she was crying. I just asked that, okay, let's go outside, get some fresh air, reground yourself, drink some water, come back when you're ready. And she
Right.
came back in and she says, I feel amazing. I can't believe that was stuck in my jaw. It literally felt like it was stuck in there trying to get out. And then when I did the little bit of the Bowen move on her jaw, it released it. But it was stuck because she didn't know what was going on. And then you tense up and then that makes it worse. And then, that type of thing. But, yeah, interesting. I see it all the time. Pretty much every class, somebody's going to have an moment. And I think that's why I get excited when I'm in a teacher class.
Yeah. When you came to our place, one of our frequent flyers, who's also a massage therapist, came in a couple weeks later. She's like, "Oh my God, I'm still feeling better." And this is a real tough case. This particular person is very difficult, not lots of surgeries and lots
Mm-hmm.
of lifetime issues, lots of story in her body. And she just was ecstatic because she's been looking for kind of other avenues to make a living, and she's really in love with her profession. So she spoke very highly of you. I
Thank
just want to say that we're probably going to get cut off in a few minutes.
you.
So we should make sure that we've covered everything we want to cover for our conversation. I do appreciate you taking the time to put your face out there. It's not easy if we're continuing education providers, but we have to be out there to say, hey, I'm here, I exist, and this is a really valuable technique, and I'm a valuable person to pull into your life. So I am proud of you for being one of those great, passionate practitioners.
Thank you.
And what would you say to somebody who was just starting out in the field and besides they have to get their continuing ed, all the rules, what would you say to them for how they should approach their next few years of life as a massage therapist?
You know what? Find find some techniques that you hadn't heard of. Learn them. If you don't like it, I like to think of it as you have a toolbox in the garage. You bought that tool because you probably needed it. Let's put it away for a little bit. But when somebody's going to say something, you're going to be like, oh, I've got that tool. You can go and get it. So learn as much as you can. Don't stop learning. Keep learning
Right.
new. You could take the same, reflexology class, every 2 years for however many times you want to take it. But let's learn something new. Keep learning new stuff because there's so much to learn, so many different ways. You may find a valley that you like and you're going to stay in that valley, but there's so much more to learn in that valley on that topic, like Bowen therapy, that
Yeah.
so many other instructors and other ways to learn more about Bowen therapy and the fascia systems and the systems that it affects. That's what I would encourage any new therapist is keep learning. And I do get the excited new therapists coming in saying, I wanted to learn this because I hadn't heard about it. And it's something new I want to learn about. And it's simple. It's an easy technique. It's going to save them
Yeah.
in the long run, right? So yeah, that's my
Absolutely. It just comes from there's just so many skills that need to be practiced and come
yeah,
together into a wonderful recipe.
right. Or a recipe,
Soft
yes.
skills and learning to relate to the client, helping to listen, relate and listen with your hands. Close
Yes.
your eyes, listen with not with your ears, but with your
Yeah.
hands. Not with your eyes, but with your hands.
It's such a gentle touch. That's my challenge with the massage therapist. And I laugh every class and say, I get paid to say this, but you need to relax your hands. It's not deep tissue. Loosen your
Great.
loosen them up. It's a
Yeah, be
light.
like a conduit.
They're wanting to dig, and I'm like, do a bow pose and just gently roll over. And they're wanting to dig, and I'm like, take your arms out of it and just do a bow pose. And,
Yes. You're
you know,
entering the nervous system, you're entering the fascial system. You're not, yeah, to
yeah,
help somebody. And then they're like, well, what do I do with all that information over there?
yeah,
You'll figure it out. You let your body just be in the moment of learning and then in the moment of your therapy. And what I always say to myself especially when I feel nervous is, you know what, let's just see what happens.
yeah,
Because all of this back knowledge and all of these my history will just come in through the hands, and it's to help a person have an experience with, a safe, positive experience with their body.
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah.
well,
So thank you again, Nora, for this opportunity to talk about Bowen and my passion. I want to get into some more massage schools around the country and just keep
thank
teaching in different areas of the world, really,
Well, you say that that's actually really smart. Please share this channel with
Mhm.
people. I hadn't even thought about that, but you had mentioned last week, why don't you talk to some schools? And I'm like, I don't personally want to go to a school, right? I have to think bigger than that. I have to think per. That would actually be really nice for them to actually see these videos to kind of get a sense of how you think.
Yes,
So I'll make sure that the schools,
because the schools have
they see the
they
YouTube
have
channel.
a email list, and a lot of the schools will offer a discount to previous students for CEs. And I see that all the time in Florida and even here in North Carolina.
Yeah, it might be a nice service for PERG to offer, because we're all out there trying to, hi, I'm here, hi, I'm here, I am here. And PERG is the collective energy for us to get out there and speak loud and proud, even though we're just one, right? So that's you're gonna. I always like to learn, so
Yeah, you know
you're
what I
gonna
have
put
to say?
something else in my head, and it's gonna spin
Uh,
off into something good for you all.
nine, 8 or 9 out of 10 of my students come from PERG online. So whatever you're doing is working. And that is why I
Yeah.
continue to advertise with you. And I encourage anybody who is going to advertise to spend the money. It seems like it's a lot, but if 8 of your students are coming from PERG, it more than pays for itself.
Right. And I would say that 8 out of 10, that's PERG in print as well as PERG online. They work collectively together. They are two separate products. So if you're in another state, you can still use PERG online, and it doesn't cost as much as the in print advertising does for North Carolina. But yes, I am hearing that more and more people are using the newer version of the PERG online, and getting
That's,
some
that's
exposure
going to
to other
encourage a
people.
school in Arizona to advertise in yours because I would go to Arizona to take a cool class.
Yes.
I would
Yes.
go to Washington to take a cool class or Florida, so I would encourage them to advertise in your on your online site because you're going
Yes.
to draw people
Or
from all over.
nationwide. Yes. Absolutely. And then that'll spin out some more people. Yes, cross borders, cross boundaries. NCBTMB is our how we have our certification. So you can take a class in Arizona and still use it toward North Carolina or
Right,
another state, whatever state. You just have to know your own state's requirements.
right.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming in today. Well, coming in today
Yeah.
and listen to me and the body worker that I am. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for talking to us today.
Thank you,
We'll
Laura, for the
We'll see you
opportunity
on the wire at pergonline.com, and we'll see you in class
at
at
BosageTherapy.com,
X.
BOWSAGE.
Excellent. We'll see you in person. Have a
Bye-bye.
good day.